Have you ever sat in an online video call or an online sales meeting with a potential customer and it's just been really awkward? Because I've been selling our salesman.org training product to sales leaders throughout the world over Skype video chats for years now, and all of these meetings seemed really weird and awkward at first for me as well. That was until I figured a few things out. And it's likely that your online meetings are more awkward than your in-person meetings because of one thing, because you don't have enough rapport. It's more difficult to build rapport in an online meeting because, well, you can't shake hands with individuals. You're not looking at each other eye to eye, mano to mano as well. And the pair of you, the buyer and the seller, are missing out on lots of body language cues as well. And so in this video, I'm going to share 5 ways that you can increase the level of rapport that you have with your buyers when you engage with them over Skype, Zoom, whatever video chat that you're selling through right now, which in turn will make things way less awkward and increase your chances of sales success. Hi, I'm Will Barron, founder of salesman.org, where we help salespeople who sell services crush their sales quotas. So first off, let's look at what the heck we're trying to do with these online meetings when we're trying to get deals done. Because for a deal to get done, we need to have trust with the person that we're communicating with. A lack of trust in a buyer-seller conversation is like having a massive, big, fat, ugly roadblock in the way from the starting point to a sale. Because if you don't have trust in your conversations, there's no way to go around, over, or under this big, ugly obstruction. The lack of trust is going to stop your deals getting done. And of course, another way of describing trust is rapport. And we can describe rapport as two people, two stick men or stick women right here, having a two-way back and forth and having what we call mutual attentiveness. Mutual attentiveness, it sounds more complicated than what it is. Mutual attentiveness means that both people in the conversation are interested in the opportunities that each other are providing. So in a selling scenario, your opportunity as the seller is the service that you can provide, and the buyer, the opportunity that they can give you is, of course, their cash in their pocket. So now that we know why we need to build rapport in these online meetings to get deals done, let's look at 5 ways we can increase the level of rapport that we have in online video chat meetings specifically. So the first tip, and this might seem pretty stupid and basic, I want you to look at the camera. And I mean this very literally. Look at the camera when you're on the first couple of minutes of each of your sales meetings, rather than looking at your buyer, another stick person who might be on the screen. Because you see this gap here, there's a subtle gap between the top of the screen where the webcam is and the monitor underneath where you're going to see your potential customer. And if you're not looking directly at the webcam, it doesn't look like from the buyer's perspective that you're looking them directly in the eyes. Once the conversation is up and running and you've had a little bit of a chat and built that little bit of rapport through this strategic eye contact, then you can go back to looking at them on the screen so you don't miss anything if they start waving their arms about because the house is on fire and you could just continuing to chat to them like nothing's going on in the background. But at the beginning of an online sales meeting, this little black dot at the top of your monitor is like a hole into the buyer's soul. Next up, I want you to double down on your body language. Salespeople often know and understand how to use their body language to build influence and rapport in a conversation, especially when you're in an in-person meeting. But for most salespeople, for some reason, all of this goes completely out of the window as soon as they jump on a Skype or a Zoom call. And so as a quick reminder, here are a few basic principles for you. So when the buyer is saying something interesting, when they're moving themselves towards the sale, the close over here, I want you to start to lean in, to start to nod, have a big smile on your face, encourage them to move towards the close. But if the buyer throws out an objection or they start being difficult, I need to sit back and not necessarily put your hands above your head and start relaxing and be obnoxious about all of this, but lean back in your seat, show the buyer that you're in control of this conversation and you're not going to be easily rattled. And this affects your subconscious as well, because when you lean back into your seat, the whole of your body starts to relax. And so you're going to be less flustered and you're going to be able to give better rebuttals to any objections that are being thrown in your general direction. And finally, with our body language selling 101 right here, make sure to nod during the conversation. Acknowledge that you're actually going back and forth with a real person. Don't treat it like you're just staring at a screen. Imagine that that individual is sat there in front of you and act and react the way that you would as if you were in person. And finally, if you're struggling with your body language, just record one of the video calls that you get on and then watch the recording back, grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, and see how engaging you are for the buyer and how interested you look when they're speaking with you. If you want to learn more on the whole selling and body language front, make sure to click that subscribe button because we've got a series of body language in sales and influence videos coming up very soon. Tip number 3 is to find some common ground as soon as possible with the potential customer. Now, I personally find that there's way more small talk in in-person meetings and even on the phone than when we jump on online calls. It might be that selling online and meeting online is new for a lot of people, and so they want to get on there and get off as quick as possible. But for whatever reason, we do a lot less small talk in online meetings. The problem is that small talk is absolutely fantastic for building rapport with people. So why not try and engineer a little bit more small talk at the beginning of each of your online video meetings? Now, we want to find common ground with our buyers because people like talking about themselves and their own interests. It's nothing surprising or revolutionary here. So when you do uncover a buyer's genuine interest and you show a little bit of interest in it yourself, then the buyer is more likely to relax and respond positively to you during your sales conversations. You can find common ground with your buyers by asking open-ended questions, such as, what are you doing to get away from the office at the weekend? Don't overcomplicate this. A simple question like this on a Thursday or Friday can open up a brand new relationship with a buyer who's been hardballing you, who's been a pain in the arse, who's been throwing objections at you for months now. This very simple question right here allows the buyer to open up a little, share their hobbies, share their interests, which of course then gives you the opportunity to ask follow-up questions to deepen that conversation. Tip number 4 is to be more empathetic, because when you're building rapport, it's incredibly important to understand your buyer's perspective on things. And putting yourself in their shoes is a very quick way to build that empathy. Now, to build deep empathy rather than surface level empathy, we need to get the buyer openly discussing their thoughts and their feelings. Now, of course, I'm not recommending that you get into deep conversations about your buyer's recent divorce. Understanding why Julia has had a threesome with a bunch of fellas who like dressing up in furry animal outfits, it might be fascinating, but it's not going to help you drive towards the close. Instead, why not ask the buyer how they feel about the business problems that you can potentially solve? You could ask them questions like, how does this problem make you feel at the end of each workday? This allows the buyer to talk about their feelings without it all getting weird and emotional. And then you can layer on top of this a whole shed load of empathy by saying statements such as, I've seen similar problems from similar customers, and at the end of the workday, they're feeling tired and stressed and emotional as well. Showing empathy for your buyers is probably the quickest way to build rapport that I know of. It works. And the final tip I've got for you is to use visuals throughout your online video sales meetings. So as you can see, I'm drawing, I'm doodling, I'm scribbling, I'm throwing up quotes, I'm throwing up images throughout this video, and you should be doing the same with your video presentations and sales meetings as well. Now, I don't have a piece of paper to hand on my desk, otherwise I'll show you this, but you could document things, you can draw diagrams and just scribble them down on a piece of paper and hold them up to the camera, your webcam, throughout your sales meetings. It can be as simple as that. Or you can get slightly more sophisticated and share your screen to the buyer that you're meeting with online. Or if you want to get more complicated, you can have an iPad like I have. So you can doodle and scribble on the screen as you're going through your online sales meetings, as you're engaging with your potential customers. Now, what is the point of all of this? The point is to keep people's attention, because the longer you have people's attention during these online sales meetings, the more swings that you have to build rapport, to build empathy, and to get past that trust barrier that we talked about at the top of this video, so deals can progress forward and sales can be made. And so there we have it, 5 ways to build rapid rapport with your online meetings. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that thumbs up button. If you hated it for whatever reason, if you hate this shirt, this background, this content, click the thumbs down. And make sure to click one of the videos on the screen right now to continue your sales education.